Antonio back again with anyway, later on reacts. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be honest, I did not feel like record. But hey man, shit, those moments count the most. But how insane is El Chapo prison security? The fugitive. Shout out to Fugitive. Go subscribe to him. Let's get into the video.
After escaping twice and after several years on the run, Joseph Guzman, the Mexican drug lord,
I think they made a
most
movie about it.
popularly
I might
known
check
as
him
El
out.
Chapo, was captured and locked behind one of the world's most secure prisons, ADX Florence. But how can we be sure he won't escape again? And what makes this prison so secure that the authorities feel certain they found a permanent home for the drug lord? The notorious inmates of ADX Florence. ADX Florence is home to the worst of the worst, the ones we call society's monsters. And while El Chapo might have been the most ruthless drug lord in recent memory, there are criminals in this world. Criminals who are not interested in money or power. Criminals who just want to watch the world burn. These criminals match the atrocities El Chapo committed, and then some. I mean, how many people do you know who are as twisted as John Kaczynski? In 1966, John Kaczynski was a math professor from Harvard University before he randomly mailed 16 homemade bombs to people, killing 3 of them in the process. When he was caught and tried, the only place that made sense to keep his murderous tendencies at bay was a place as secure as ADX Florence.
Like, what goes through a person's mind for them to just say, you know what, this is, I don't even know how you like even think of stuff like this. I know people get mad and want to fight, cool, whatever, right? But bombing, killing people, to send them to their crib just so they can open it and boom. Like, why? Why? Just why? You know what I'm saying? Like, why?
But what about another wild card? The international terrorist known as Umar Abdul Muttalab. Back in 2000.
Oh, whoa. When you look at this dude, he like some random black kid that you, like, honestly, he like some random black kid that you probably went to school with. He like some random black kid that, like, that you know, that you done seen before. The whole time he a terrorist? That shit crazy.
Wild card. The international terrorist known as Umar Abdul Muttalab. Back in 2009, Umar became known as the underwear suicide bomber when he tried and failed to take down a plane that was on its way to Detroit from Amsterdam. The plane was carrying 289 people. Today, he's spending multiple life sentences behind ADX Florence's concrete walls. Then, there is the notorious Michael Swank.
Damn. I want to have... Oh, let's go ahead.
The man so evil they had to nickname him Dr. Death. This diabolical villain used his medical license to poison patients and colleagues. The medical serial killer murdered more than 60 people through his bloody reign. And there is no way on earth anyone would want that man, or any of the men I just mentioned, in a regular prison, which is what makes ADX Florence their perfect home. But what is so special about this soup?
Okay. Now, back to the black guy. Why, bro? Like, like, what's the purpose of the shit that people do? Like, and now the doctor, like, dude, dude, you get a, so you go to school all these years to become a doctor, and decide, you know what, I want to kill people. Like, and I ain't even trying to be fun, I'm just being real. Like, dude, who does, like, who just has this type of thing? Who thinks this type of way? Who? Like, what's the fucking purpose? Like, why? Come on now, bro.
Supermax. And what sets it apart from your regular maximum security facility?
Why?
The structure of ADX Florence. ADX Florence Supermax occupies 49 acres of land on the outskirts of a small rural town in Colorado. Originally built...
This is Webflow. Meet the design tool from the future. The most powerful visual coding tool.
Built to house 490 inmates. This impenetrable facility
so
has
all
never
the
been
people
full,
up in there
and currently
dangerous
houses
as hell?
343 of the most high-profile criminals the world has ever seen or heard of. It is divided into 343 of the most inmates. This impenetrable facility has never been full, and currently houses 343 of the most high-profile criminals the world has ever seen or heard of. It is divided into 6 different security levels that vary in their levels of restriction. General population, the special housing unit, the special security unit, or H unit.
Oh yeah, by the way, this is what I want to say. Have any of these guys sat back and just thought about what they did. Literally, like I'm just thinking, like, is they thinking about like
the
what
Control
they
Unit,
thought they was gonna do or
Intermediate
done?
or Transitional Units, and Range 13. General Population is the least restrictive unit. All inmates within this unit are subject to 23-hour lockdowns, with just an hour of recess each day. They are also
That
given
shit
phone
crazy.
call privileges that they have to earn. Their 1 hour of freedom is spent in an indoor swimming pool-like concrete pit that is built in such a way inmates won't have an idea where in the prison facility they are. As restrictive as this sounds, El Chapo isn't in this unit. The H unit houses criminals that have been deemed terrorist groups by the Department of Justice. Notorious individuals like Umar Abdul Muttalab stay in this unit.
They
And one
look
of
like
the
a
defining
regular ass
features of this
kid.
unit is the fact that the cells there don't have a shower. Rather, prisoners are escorted to a shower by guards several days a week. Again, El Chapo is not in this unit. The unit the drug lord resides in is the most restrictive and is called Range 13. Range 13 is a special 4-cell wing within the Special Housing Unit. Before El Chapo, only 2 other criminals have been publicly thrown into Range 13.
That
Thomas
shit
Silverstein,
crazy.
the most violent criminal in the history of the United States, and Ramzi
The
Youssef,
most violent.
responsible for the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. The reason why El Chapo is sharing a prison wing with the worst criminals in history is
What
because
is
of his
it?
own
You said
history with
1983.
maximum
I
security
thought it was
facilities. I've
2001.
published some videos on El Chapo's mastery
Wait,
in the art of
I'm
prison
confused.
escape,
Maybe I'm
so why don't we
wrong.
compare his old prison escapes with the design at ADX Florence, and see if you could pull off a Schofield here. ADX Florence versus El Chapo's.
Let's be honest. If El Chapo was to fucking find a way to escape ADX Florence, I don't even know if y'all should even grab him though. I think at that point y'all just don't even fuck with the nigga no more. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
First prison escape. Before ADX Florence,
shit
El
crazy
Chapo
though.
has been in and out of 2 max security prisons in Mexico. And no, he didn't finish his time. He escaped in the most dramatic way possible. The first prison he spent time in was Puente Grande Maximum Security Prison, outside the city of Guadalajara. Arrested in 1995 for a bloody shootout in Guadalajara Airport 2 years prior, El Chapo lived like a king in that prison, enjoying everything that he had enjoyed while he was free: good food, women, sports, and running his drug trade with ease. But the Mexican government caught wind of the corruption and decided to extradite him to the US, as long as he wouldn't be given the death penalty. El Chapo knew what an American prison meant, so he planned a ridiculously simple escape plan. On the 19th of January 2001, El Chapo was wheeled out of the prison in a laundry basket by a guard in the prison. In ADX Florence, that would be impossible, because guards are not allowed to interact with the inmates under any circumstances. But maybe we have this all wrong. Everyone knows that most escapes come from corrupt, bribable prison officials. So, could El Chapo corrupt a guard who would help him plan his escape? The answer to that question is extremely unlikely. Any guard he tries to bribe would have already gone through a rigorous vetting process. I don't want to use the word incorruptible for the guards, but it would be extremely difficult to bribe them, because both the guards and inmates are constantly rotated and closely watched. And beyond that, anyone scheming to free inmates of this facility, some of whom are considered enemies of the state, may as well consider themselves a dead man. It's not a wise thing to go against the United States of America. Okay, now that we know that it is unlikely that El Chapo will escape ADX
He
Florence the way
probably
he
could.
staged
What?
his first escape,
Give a
let's
nigga
consider
2
his
mil,
second.
nigga might get
ADX
some
Florence
questions
versus
and
El
shit, you know?
Chapo's second prison escape.
Like shit. If you a guard, right, and El Chapo throw you 10 mil, and I got 10 mil for you, make some shake. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? I need everybody in the comments right now. What you gonna do if El Chapo say 10 mil, make some shake? What you got? What you gonna do? Cause most people ain't gonna see that in their life, so you know. Don't ask me. I'm gonna do my job. I think. Look, no, I'm just. Hey man, look, he ain't gonna be able to bribe nobody. Some of y'all might, y'all gonna pay up. Y'all gonna take that bread and just, you know. But yeah, though.
After El Chapo's first escape, another 13 years passed before the drug lord was once again captured. This time, it took a joint effort between the
13
U.S.
years?
Drug Enforcement
Free?
Administration, the DEA, and Mexican Marines. The date of his capture was the 22nd of February 2014, and this time, everyone went to great lengths to ensure that it would be difficult, if not impossible, to escape. His cell had no windows, inmates were not allowed to talk to each other, and they were not allowed to reach out to family members either. El Chapo spent 23 hours in solitary confinement, in a cell that had 1 bed, 1 shower, and a single toilet. Any visitations by family had to first be approved by a judge, and the only luxury he was afforded was $48 for personal hygiene.
Damn. That shit tough. I mean, you can't. So he broke out of maximum security prison.
Hygiene products. Yes, no one was taking any chances this time. But even with all these restrictions, a little over a year later, El Chapo escaped once again. He had found a blind spot for the security cameras in the cell bathroom, and after months of communicating with his men, El Chapo walked into that shower stall and disappeared. But how? This is where it gets more insane. It turns out that El Chapo's men, led by his wife, had been digging a mile-long tunnel for 4 months that led directly underneath the shower. With the help of a smartwatch that
shit
someone had
crazy.
smuggled in, he was able to pinpoint his exact location for his criminal tunnelers. Again, there is no way he would be able to escape using this way in ADX Florence, and some of the reasons El Chapo was able to get his gang members to build a tunnel underneath the second prison he escaped from was because, 1, he had bought the land around the prison there in Mexico. 2, he had gotten another corrupt guard to smuggle a smartwatch in for him.
Damn. That nigga was, hey man, money equals power, bro. That nigga got power. I know he evil, but shit, he got fucking power. All that damn bread can make some shit shake. I'm telling you, bro. And he bought land by the prison. I don't know why the fuck would you buy land by the prison. You know they looking for you. They just show you, hey nigga, I'm that nigga.
And 3, the prison and a blind spot. ADX
The blind
Florence
spot.
has no blind spots. It is a fortress that cost $60 million to build. It is surrounded by rocks on all sides, and there is an army base, Fort Carson, just a couple of miles away from the prison for extra measure. There is no way on God's green earth that El Chapo will buy land around a prison that the federal government owns. His men would find it difficult, if not impossible, to drill a tunnel in that region. And who is going to smuggle a watch for him? I've already covered how difficult it is to corrupt the guards. The
That
only
shit
way
crazy.
out for the man is in a body bag. But that's not even the most terrifying part of this Supermax prison. There are some experiences far more horrifying than death, and ADX Florence has a 5-star rating in that department. I'm talking about the unbearable living conditions of the Range 13 cells that El Chapo and other unfortunate inmates like him have to endure.
That shit
Life
crazy.
in Range 13. Life in Range 13 is so bad that
Imagine
former guards
being
have
there.
disavowed the prison, calling it inhumane. And it's not inhumane for the reasons
That's
you
how they
think.
got these
The
niggas
only
locked
kind of
up.
torture in
That
ADX
shit
Florence
crazy.
is isolation and deafening silence. The prison is where the worst of the worst go. In ADX, inmates are locked up 23 hours a day in a 7 by 12-foot cell that features a desk, stool, and bed. Each of these pieces of furniture is made from the same material that the cell is made from, poured concrete. The cells are also soundproofed, so inmates can't communicate.
Like I said, is any of these niggas sitting down thinking about what they did? Cause it's like, bro, this is what life gonna be for the rest of your life, bro. That shit tough,
Communicate with
bro.
anybody except their own imagination. It's also constructed to be so deliberately disorienting that the prisoners never know where in the prison they are. Inmates will find it hard to hurt themselves in this cell, even if they tried. The sinks come without taps, so that they can't be turned into weapons. The toilets shut off if clogged, and the showers run on a scheduled timer. Entertainment in the cells is reduced to a black and white TV that plays repeated educational and religious recordings daily. Even the food they eat is monitored. It is hand-delivered by the guards so that inmates won't have an opportunity to meet one another. There's a small window in each cell, but it only gives them a view of the sky. And every cell is fitted with pressure pads that allow the guards to know where the prisoner is within their cell at any given time. The entire facility is also surrounded by motion detectors, cameras, and thick steel doors for extra protection. And yes,
Damn.
everything is controlled remotely from a control room. The entire facility can be shut down with a single panic button in the event of an emergency. Already, you can get a feeling of how impossible it would be for El Chapo to escape ADX
So
Florence.
like it's a
But
wrap
let's
for
humor
him.
ourselves a little. Let's imagine that El Chapo
Hey,
found a way
no,
to escape
I
his
wanna
cell,
doubt it,
get
though.
past all the sensors, cameras, and steel doors. He would still have a 12-foot tall razor wire fence to deal with. And we're not even talking about the countless heavily armed guards that patrol the facility 24/7. And their highly trained dogs. And the fact that Fort Carson, which is just down the road, is equipped with a 4th Infantry Division, 10th Special Forces Group, a few hundred combat vehicles, and 74 combat
Damn, them
helicopters.
niggas gonna have
There
to
is
do
a
all
reason
that just to get
ADX
one man?
Florence Supermax
Just to
is
do
called
one man?
the Alcatraz of the Rockies. No inmate in the 28-year history of the facility has ever escaped, and from the way things look, El Chapo's case will be no different. He might have escaped twice in the past, but this time, it's safe to say that those days are over.
That shit tough, bro. But the only way he probably could, shit, if them niggas